The inheritance behind the locked door. There is a door inside your life that you have walked past for years. You may not remember when you first saw it. Maybe you were a child, still believing that help would come quickly when you cried. Maybe you were older, already learning how to swallow pain quietly, already learning how to smile while carrying a weight no one else could see. But the door has always been there. It was never loud. It never forced itself open. It stood in the background of your days like a promise waiting for the right moment. And every time you reached the end of your strength, every time you whispered, "I cannot do this anymore," the door remained. Behind it was not punishment. Behind it was not a list of everything you failed to become. Behind it was not a disappointed God holding a cold record of your mistakes. Behind it was an inheritance, a portion marked with your name, a peace you could not create on your own, a future you were too tired to imagine, a love that did not begin when you became useful and will not end when you become weak. Tonight, as you listen, I want you to imagine that door slowly opening. Not because you have finally earned the right to open it. Not because you prayed perfectly. Not because your faith never shook. The door opens because the one who owns the house has chosen to open it for you. And he has been waiting longer than you know. So before we go any further, take a slow breath. Not a shallow breath from the top of your chest. A real breath. Let it move down into the tired place. Let it touch the part of you that has been pretending to be fine. Let it reach the place where panic has been living like an unwanted tenant. Breathe in, and let it out. Again, breathe in, and release the need to have every answer before the next minute arrives. One more time. Breathe in, and let your shoulders understand what your heart has not yet fully believed. You were never meant to carry the whole estate alone. That is the secret exhaustion in you, isn't it? Not just the work, not just the bills, not just the family needs, the unanswered messages, the health worries, the future plans, the memories that visit when the room gets quiet. It is something beneath all of that. It is the belief that if you stop holding everything together, everything will fall apart. You became the provider, the protector, the planner, the encourager, the one who notices what everyone else needs. You learned to read the room. You learned to be strong before anyone asked you to be. You learned to hide your own fear because other people seemed to need your calm. And somewhere along the way, you mistook survival for identity. You began to think this is who you are, the one who must always manage, always anticipate, always push through, always prepare for the worst. But I am telling you now, gently and firmly, that is not your name. Your name is not the one who must not break. Your name is not the one who has to earn love. Your name is not the one who is always behind. Your name is child. Your name is beloved. Your name is heir. And an heir does not beg at the back gate for what already belongs in the family. An heir does not have to steal crumbs from a table prepared in their own house. An heir may forget. An heir may wander. An heir may stand outside in the rain, soaked with fear, convinced the house is closed. But the inheritance remains. The father does not rewrite the will every time the child has a weak day. That is what I want you to hear tonight. The inheritance did not disappear when you became tired. It did not shrink when your faith trembled. It did not expire when you made the same mistake again. It did not move away because your prayers became quiet, confused, or angry. What has been kept for you is still kept. What has been promised to you is still alive. And what God has placed under your name cannot be stolen by a season of darkness. Maybe you have been living as if your desperation is the clearest truth about your life. Maybe the empty feeling in your chest has convinced you that nothing is left. Maybe you wake up and the first thing your mind does is count what is missing. Not enough money. Not enough time. Not enough strength. Not enough help. Not enough clarity. Not enough of yourself to keep giving. And at night, when the world finally becomes quiet, the counting does not stop. It simply changes its voice. It becomes a whisper beside your bed. What if this never changes? What if you are too late? What if the door never opens? What if you are the one person God forgot? But listen carefully. Fear is loud, but it is not faithful. Fear is dramatic, but it is not prophetic. Fear has predicted your ruin many times before, and yet you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still listening. You are still being called. And the very fact that these words have reached you is evidence that heaven has not misplaced your address. There is a story I want to tell you. Imagine a young woman named Mara who lived at the edge of a large estate. Her father had once been close to the owner of the land, but after many years of hardship, Mara grew up believing she had no place there. She worked in the fields outside the great house, gathering what fell from carts, collecting what others did not want. Every morning, she went out before the sun rose. Every evening, she came home with aching hands and a little basket of leftovers. People saw her and said, "She is responsible." They said, "She is strong." They said, "She always finds a way." But no one saw how tired she was when she closed the door at night. No one saw how she sat on the floor, too exhausted to remove her shoes. No one heard the question she asked the dark, "Is this all my life will ever be?" One evening, a storm came suddenly. The kind of storm that turns a field into mud and makes every path disappear. Mara tried to keep working, but the rain became too heavy. Her basket tipped over. The scraps she had gathered fell into the dirt and washed away. She dropped to her knees. And for the first time in many years, she did not try to be strong. She simply cried. Not a graceful cry. Not the quiet kind people approve of. It was the kind of cry that comes when a person has reached the end of pretending. That is when she heard a voice. Not from the field. From the house. A lantern was moving through the rain. Someone was coming down the hill toward her. At first, Mara thought it was one of the servants coming to tell her to leave. She wiped her face quickly, ashamed of her weakness. But the man carrying the lantern did not scold her. He knelt in the mud beside her. He said, "Mara, why are you still out here?" She answered, "Because this is the only place I know how to survive." The man looked at her with a sadness that was not anger, but love. Then he reached inside his coat and took out a small brass key. "You have been gathering scraps," he said, "outside a house where a room has been kept for you." Mara stared at him. He continued, "Your father did not leave you forgotten. Your name is written in the records of this house. There is a door upstairs that has waited for you for years. Behind it is not charity. It is your portion." Mara shook her head. "No," she said. "You must have the wrong person. I have nothing to offer. I have no proof. I have no fine clothing. I have not lived like someone from this house." The man placed the key in her muddy hand. "An inheritance is not paid to the clean," he said. "It is given to the child." And when she finally stood, she did not stand because the storm had stopped. The storm was still falling. She stood because she had remembered who she was. That is what is happening to you while you listen. The storm in your life may not have stopped yet. The answer may not have appeared in the exact form you demanded. The situation may still require patience, wisdom, and courage. But something deeper is shifting. You are remembering where you belong. You are remembering that the field of desperation is not your home. You are remembering that the scraps were never the full measure of God's intention for you. You are remembering that the locked door was not locked against you. It was locked for you, kept safe until the appointed time. There is a difference between a wage and an inheritance. A wage says, "Produce first, then receive." An inheritance says, "You belong first, and because you belong, receive." A wage rises and falls with performance. An inheritance rests on relationship. A wage ends when your strength ends. An inheritance begins where your striving finally stops. You have lived too long under the law of the wage. You have measured your right to rest by what you accomplished. You have measured your right to be loved by how needed you were. You have measured your value by how many burdens you carried without complaint. But the Father is not hiring you. He is receiving you. He is not standing over you with a ledger, asking whether you have produced enough peace to deserve peace. He is not demanding that you heal yourself before he calls you whole. He is not waiting for you to become impressive before he gives you what love has already prepared. The order is different in his house. You are loved first. Then you heal. You are accepted first. Then you grow. You are held first. Then you become strong in a way that is not built on fear. This is why the inheritance changes everything. It does not make you lazy. It makes you free. It does not teach you to do nothing. It teaches you to move without panic. It does not remove responsibility. It removes the lie that responsibility means you are alone. When a child knows there is bread in the house, the child can share. When a child knows the father is near, the child can sleep. When a child knows the family name is secure, the child can walk through a hard season without begging strangers to decide their worth. You have been begging too many temporary things to give you a permanent answer. You asked a job to tell you that you were safe. You asked people's approval to tell you that you were enough. You asked money to tell you that tomorrow would not hurt. You asked a relationship to become the home your heart was missing. You asked your own strength to be a savior. And when those things trembled, you thought your life was collapsing. But perhaps what collapsed was not your life. Perhaps it was a false shelter. Perhaps the shaking exposed where you had been standing on something too small to carry your soul. This is not condemnation. This is mercy. God does not reveal a fragile foundation to shame you. He reveals it to move you onto rock. And tonight, He is moving you. Not with violence. Not with accusation. With invitation. Come out of the field. Come out of the endless counting. Come out of the future disasters you keep rehearsing. Come out of the courtroom where you keep trying to prove that you deserve to be helped. The door is open. The inheritance is not a vague idea. It has substance. It has weight. It has rooms inside it. There is peace in the inheritance. Not the fragile peace that only exists when every problem is solved. That kind of peace is easily frightened. It stays only as long as the weather behaves, as long as people respond correctly, as long as the numbers look safe, as long as no one disappoints you. The peace God gives is different. It can sit beside a hospital bed. It can stand in a courtroom hallway. It can ride with you through a rainy night when you do not know how tomorrow will answer. It can breathe inside a person who has not yet received the phone call they are waiting for. It does not require the storm to end before it begins. It is not denial. It is presence. It is the quiet certainty that you are not abandoned inside what you cannot control. So receive that peace now. Imagine it like warm light being poured slowly into the place where anxiety has been tightest. Not rushed. Not forced. Just steady. The way dawn does not argue with the darkness, but still changes the room. Let it touch your chest. Let it loosen your jaw. Let it unclench your hands. Let it move into the part of you that has been bracing for impact. You do not have to know how the whole story resolves in order to receive peace for this breath. And this breath is where God meets you. Not in the imaginary tomorrow where fear keeps dragging you. I'm here. I'm now. In the room you are in. In the body you have. In the moment that actually exists. There is also restored sight in the inheritance. Because desperation does something dangerous, it narrows your vision. It makes you see only what is missing. It makes you stare at the closed doors so long that you forget every door God already opened. It makes the field look like the whole world. But when God restores your sight, you begin to notice again. You notice the friend who texted at the exact moment you felt alone. You notice the small provision that arrived without your planning. You notice the danger you never had to face because you were quietly protected from it. You notice the strength that came for one more day when you were certain yesterday had used the last of it. You notice the sentence in a song, the line in a message, the kindness of a stranger, the delay that saved you, the disappointment that redirected you. You begin to understand that heaven was not silent just because it was not loud. God had been writing to you in small letters, and pain had made your eyes too tired to read them. Tonight, your sight is being returned. You will start to see evidence where you once saw emptiness. You will start to recognize protection where you once saw inconvenience. You will start to remember prayers that were answered so quietly you almost forgot they had ever been prayers. And memory will become a weapon in your hands. The next time fear says, "This time you will not make it," memory will answer, "That is what you said last time." The next time panic says, "There is no way," memory will answer, "There was no way before, and yet a way appeared." The next time shame says, "God is tired of you," memory will answer, "He came for me in the mud." Do not despise your memories of deliverance. Write them down if you must. Speak them out loud if the room feels heavy. Keep a record of mercy, because fear keeps a record of threats. And if you do not deliberately remember what God has done, anxiety will gladly narrate your life for you. But anxiety is a poor narrator. It edits out the rescues. It exaggerates the danger. It forgets the Father. It makes every hard chapter sound like the ending. Tonight, you are taking the pen back. There is a future in the inheritance too. A future does not mean a painless road. It does not mean every person will understand you. It does not mean every loss will be reversed in the way you first hoped. But it means your story is not at the mercy of the loudest opposition. Your life is not a loose page blowing in the wind. There is a hand holding it. There is a wisdom arranging what you cannot yet understand. There is a destination deeper than your current confusion. And the people who stood against what God is building in you do not get the final vote. They may delay. They may misunderstand. They may accuse. They may leave. They may close a door you thought you needed. But they cannot cancel what the Father has spoken over His child. The inheritance includes a future because God does not begin a work and forget how to finish it. You may feel unfinished. That is not failure. Seeds also look unfinished when they are under the soil. A foundation looks unfinished before a house rises. A road looks unfinished while it is still being built. Do not call yourself abandoned just because you are in process. Do not call the promise dead just because it is hidden. Some things are not absent. They are being prepared. And preparation often feels like silence to the one who is waiting. Mara, the woman in the field, did not know the room had been prepared. She did not see the bed made, the lamp filled, the clean garments folded, the fire built behind the walls of the house. From the mud, it looked like nothing was happening. But the house was ready before she arrived. In the same way, God has prepared more for you than your current view can prove. There are conversations already moving. There are doors already loosening on their hinges. There are people being positioned. There is wisdom being formed in you through the very season you wish had ended sooner. There is compassion growing in you that will one day make you a safe place for someone else. There is discernment being sharpened. There is courage being born quietly. There is a version of you ahead who will look back at this season and say, I did not enjoy the storm, but I met the Father there. And that meeting changed everything. There is one more part of the inheritance you may find hardest to receive. Your true face. Not the face you wear when you are trying to be acceptable. Not the face shaped by other people's disappointment. Not the face reflected back to you by failure, rejection, or comparison. Your true face is the one the Father saw before the world taught you to hide. He saw you before you became useful. He saw you before your accomplishments. He saw you before your regrets. He saw you before anyone praised you and before anyone misunderstood you. And He chose you. That choosing came first. You keep trying to earn back a worth that was given before you could perform. You keep presenting evidence to a Father who already calls you His own. You keep standing in the doorway, holding your record, expecting interrogation, and He keeps saying, come inside. Some of you listening have been deeply wounded by the word Father. Maybe it feels unsafe. Maybe the first person who should have protected you did not. Maybe authority meant fear. Maybe love came with conditions. Maybe home was a place where your nervous system learned to stay alert. So when you hear that God is Father, a part of you flinches. That is okay. God is not offended by the wound. He is gentle with it. He is not asking you to pretend earthly pain did not happen. He is revealing a fatherhood older and truer than the broken examples you knew. He is not like the hands that harmed you. He is not like the voice that shamed you. He is not like the person who left when staying became costly. He is not like the love that had to be earned every morning and could be withdrawn by evening. He is steady. He is not borrowed. He does not love you with a cup that runs dry by the end of the week. He loves you from an ocean that was full before you arrived and will be full after every fear has passed away. The cups in your life may have failed you. People may have loved you with what little they had and still left you thirsty. That does not mean you were wrong to want love. It means you were asking a cup to be an ocean. Forgive the cups for being cups. Release them from the impossible role of being your source. And turn toward the ocean. The inheritance is safe because it is kept where decay cannot reach it. This matters because you already know how fragile the visible world can be. Money can disappear. Plans can change. Health can shake. People can leave. A message can alter an entire day. A decision made by someone else can undo months of your work. You have lived long enough to know that much of what we hold can be touched by loss. So God, in mercy, keeps the truest part of your portion somewhere loss cannot enter. Not far away from you. Safe for you. There is a difference. A treasure locked in a vault is not rejected by the one who owns it. It is protected because it is valuable. Your peace, your identity, your belonging, your final future, your place in the family of God. These are not stored in the market, in public opinion, in your bank account, in another person's mood, or in the condition of your body. They are kept in God. And what is kept in God cannot be robbed by a bad year. It cannot be reduced by a painful conversation. It cannot be erased by weakness. It cannot be repossessed by shame. So when panic says, you could lose everything, answer with truth. Yes, there are visible things that can be lost. We do not need to lie about that. Faith is not pretending fragile things are unbreakable. But the deepest thing is safe. The part of your life that is hidden with God is beyond the reach of the thief. The vault has no handle on the outside. Fear has no key. The accuser has no legal claim. And the Father does not forget where He placed what belongs to His child. Maybe you are thinking, if all this is true, why have I felt so empty? Because forgetting can feel like losing. A child who forgets the house is theirs can starve in the field while bread waits inside. A person can live below their inheritance simply because they do not know how to receive it. That is why these words are not just information. They are remembrance. They are a hand on your shoulder. They are a lantern in the rain. They are the sound of a key turning. You are being invited to live from what is true, not merely from what is loud. And what is true is this. You are not outside. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are not the sum of the worst thing you did. You are not the abandoned one in the field. You are an heir in the house of a father who has already opened the door. Now, I want you to do something simple with your body. If you are able, lift your eyes slightly. Not dramatically. Just enough to stop staring at the ground for a moment. For a long time, your gaze has been fixed on what is missing. On the bills. On the messages. On the empty chair. On the diagnosis. On the silence. On your hands and how little they seem to hold. Lift your eyes. Let this small movement become a confession. My help does not come from the field. My portion does not grow out of panic. My future is not decided by the crumbs I can gather today. My Father sees me. My inheritance is still kept. Hold that posture for a few seconds. There is no need to force emotion. You do not have to feel lightning in your bones. Sometimes the holiest moments are quiet, almost ordinary. A breath, a lifted gaze, a tired person deciding, for 1 minute, not to agree with despair. That is enough. Grace knows how to begin small. Now imagine the door again. The door inside your life. The one you thought was locked against you. You are standing before it, not dressed perfectly, not holding a resume, not carrying proof that you deserve to enter. Your clothes may still smell like the field. Your hands may still be muddy. Your heart may still be shaking. But the Father is not waiting for you to clean yourself outside the door. He opens it. Warm light spills across the threshold. And inside, there is a room that has been prepared. On the table, there is bread, not just enough to survive, but enough to remind you that provision is not an accident in this house. Near the window, there is a chair, not a workplace, not a station of performance, but a place to sit and become human again. On the wall, there is a name, not the name shame gave you, not the name failure whispered, but the name beloved. And in the center of the room, there is a chest. It is not flashy. It does not need to impress anyone. It has been kept safe for a long time. When the Father opens it, you see no gold at first. You see something better. You see peace folded like a clean garment. You see courage like a lamp that still burns after a storm. You see wisdom like a map with roads you could not see from the field. You see mercy thick enough to cover the years you lost. You see joy, not shallow happiness, but the deep kind that can return even after grief. You see patience, not as punishment, but as strength for the waiting. You see belonging. You see a future. And then, at the very bottom, you see a mirror. You are afraid to pick it up. Because mirrors have not always been kind to you. Some mirrors showed you only what age changed, what pain marked, what comparison accused. Other mirrors were people's eyes, reflecting back disappointment or indifference. But this mirror is different. This mirror does not show you what shame sees. It shows you what the Father has been seeing. A child still loved. A soul still wanted. A person still called. A heart that survived more than others know. A faith that may have been bruised, but not erased. A life with more story ahead. And you begin to weep, not because the room is sad, but because you realize how long you have lived without knowing what was yours. The Father does not rush you. He lets the tears come. Tears are not the opposite of faith. Sometimes they are the doorway through which faith returns. Let them come if they come. Let the pressure leave your chest. Let the false responsibility drain out of your hands. Let the years of proving, defending, performing, and bracing begin to loosen. You are not weak because you needed to be found. You are loved because you were worth searching for. There will still be mornings when the old fear knocks. Let us be honest about that. One audio, one prayer, one emotional moment does not always erase every pattern in a single night. The mind that learned fear over years may need to be taught peace again and again. The body that learned to brace may need many reminders that it is safe to rest. That is not failure. That is healing. Healing often happens as repetition. The truth returns, and returns, and returns, until the lie becomes less familiar than it used to be. So when the old fear knocks tomorrow, you do not have to panic because it returned. You can answer it from inside the house. Fear may knock, but it does not own the door. Shame may speak, but it does not hold the records. Desperation may hum in the background, but it is no longer your master. You can say, I know this voice. It told me I was alone before. It was wrong then. It is wrong now. You can say, I am not gathering crumbs today as if I have no father. You can say, I will do what wisdom requires, but I will not worship worry. You can say, my visible resources may be limited, but my God is not. You can say, I have an inheritance, and I will walk like one who remembers. Walking like an heir does not mean arrogance. It means dignity. It means you stop negotiating your worth with people who are not authorized to price it. It means you stop calling panic preparation. It means you stop confusing exhaustion with faithfulness. It means you work from love, not for love. It means you give without secretly begging to be rescued by the people you serve. It means you rest before your body collapses. It means you ask for help without calling yourself a burden. It means you let God be God without trying to become the fourth member of the Trinity through overthinking. That may sound almost funny, but you know what it means. You have tried to be everywhere in your mind. You have tried to solve conversations before they happen. You have tried to predict every outcome, prevent every disappointment, prepare for every possible pain. But only God can be everywhere. You are allowed to be here. In this one day. In this one body. With this one breath. Your inheritance is not accessed by becoming limitless. It is received by returning to the Father who already is. There is a sacred humility in admitting, I do not know how to carry this. That confession does not close heaven. It opens your hands. And open hands can receive. Maybe tonight you need to open your hands physically. Rest them on your knees, palms upward, if you can. Let your body tell your soul, I am not clenching anymore. I am not grabbing for scraps. I am not holding my life in a fist. Father, here are my hands. Here is my fear. Here is my future. Here is my exhaustion. Here is the name I was called. Here is the version of myself I tried so hard to maintain. Here are the pieces I do not know how to fix. And here, too, is my small willingness to receive. That small willingness matters. Do not despise it. A door does not need a huge opening for light to enter. A crack is enough for dawn to begin. Perhaps your faith tonight feels like a crack. That is enough for him. He knows how to enter gently. He knows how to rebuild without crushing what is bruised. He knows how to fan a little ember until it becomes warmth again. There are some people listening who have almost stopped praying. Not because they stopped believing completely, but because hope began to feel dangerous. Every unanswered prayer felt like another reason to protect your heart. You told yourself you were being realistic, but underneath the realism was fear of disappointment. God is not angry at you for that. He knows why your voice became quiet. He knows the exact moment you learned to lower your expectations. He knows the loss that made you afraid to ask boldly again. He knows the delay that felt like rejection. And he is not standing far away saying, try harder. He is sitting beside you in the quiet, saying, tell me the truth. So tell him. Not the polished version. Not the religious version. The truth. Father, I am tired. Father, I am scared. Father, I do not understand. Father, I want to trust you, but part of me is afraid. Father, I have been living like an orphan in a field. Father, teach me how to come home. That prayer is enough to begin. The Father does not require poetry from a child in pain. He receives honesty. And when you are honest in his presence, something sacred happens. Shame loses its hiding place. Shame thrives in secrecy. It tells you that if anyone saw the real ache, the real fear, the real anger, the real confusion, you would be rejected. But God sees all of it already and still opens the door. So what power does shame have left? It can accuse, but it cannot reveal anything God does not already know. It can point to your mud, but the Father has already stepped into the field. It can say, look at what you are, but the mirror in the inheritance says, look at whose you are. That is the stronger truth. Whose you are is deeper than what you did. Whose you are is older than what happened to you. Whose you are is more permanent than what people called you. You belong to the one who does not change his mind. Let that sentence settle. You belong to the one who does not change his mind. People change their minds. Circumstances change their shape. Feelings change their weather. Opportunities come and go. Bodies age. Plans bend. But the Father does not look at his child one morning and decide the inheritance was a mistake. He is not unstable love. He is not temporary mercy. He is not a flickering candle in a windy room. He is the steady fire in the house. And you can warm yourself there. Now, Think of one fear that has been loud lately. Just one. Do not gather all of them. Do not overwhelm yourself. Let one fear step forward. Maybe it is about money. Maybe it is about health. Maybe it is about being alone. Maybe it is about your family. Maybe it is about time passing. Maybe it is about a dream that seems delayed. Hold that fear in your mind, but do not bow to it. Now place beside it this truth. The blessing kept for me is larger than the affliction facing me. Say it slowly if you can. The blessing kept for me is larger than the affliction facing me. Again. The blessing kept for me is larger than the affliction facing me. This does not make the fear imaginary. It puts it in its proper size. Your problem may be real, but it is not eternal. Your pressure may be heavy, but it is not ultimate. Your season may be long, but it is not forever. The inheritance has no expiration date. The affliction does. One of them ends. One of them remains. And the one that remains belongs to you. This is why despair is not allowed to write the final paragraph. Despair can write a sentence if you let it. It can describe a hard day. It can name a wound. But it cannot author the ending of a life hidden in God. The ending belongs to the Father. The final word is not loss. The final word is not shame. The final word is not abandoned. The final word is not too late. The final word is kept. If this message is reaching you, I want you to remember that word. Kept. You have been kept in ways you did not understand. Kept through nights you thought would swallow you. Kept through grief that changed your face. Kept through decisions you regret. Kept through seasons when your own faith felt like a thread. Kept when you were strong. Kept when you were not. Kept when you were praising. Kept when all you could do was breathe. And what God keeps, He does not casually throw away. There may be someone you love who needs this reminder too. Someone who smiles in public but searches for crumbs in private. Someone who has become very good at functioning while quietly losing hope. Someone who needs to hear that the field is not their home. When the time is right, share this with them. Not as pressure, as a lantern. Sometimes a person does not need a lecture. They need a voice in the storm saying, there is a door. There is a house. There is a Father. There is a portion with your name on it. And maybe that small reminder will become the key turning for them too. Before we close, let me speak a blessing over you. May the peace of the Father enter the rooms of your heart, where fear has been living too long. May your body learn that it does not have to brace every hour. May your mind be freed from rehearsing disasters that God has not assigned to your future. May your memories of mercy become louder than your memories of pain. May you recognize the small signs of provision you once overlooked. May you stop apologizing for needing rest. May you stop bending for crumbs that were never meant to feed you. May every false name fall away from you. May the name beloved become familiar in your own mouth. May the doors that are not from God close without destroying your trust. May the doors prepared by God open without requiring you to break yourself trying to force them. May shame lose its grip. May courage rise quietly. May the child in you come home. And may you walk into tomorrow not as an orphan begging the world to confirm your worth, but as an heir learning how to receive what love has kept. The door is open. The room is prepared. The chest is unlocked. The Father is near. The inheritance is not a rumor. It is not for a better version of you someday. It is not reserved for people whose faith never shakes. It has your name on it now. So breathe again. Let the first breath release the field. Let the second breath receive the house. Let the third breath remember the Father. You are not forgotten. You are not disinherited. You are not too late. You are not outside. You are kept. You are loved. You are an heir. Walk like one. And when the old desperation returns with its familiar voice, do not fear it. Simply remember the door. Remember the lantern in the rain. Remember the key in your hand. Remember the Father who came all the way into the field, not to shame you for being there, but to bring you home. Amen. If this story gave you peace, stay with it. Let it play again when the night feels heavy. Let it become a marker in your life, a place where you remember that God was nearer than panic said He was. And if you want to leave a word as a sign for your own heart, leave the word kept. Not because God needs a comment to notice you, but because sometimes the heart needs a stone of remembrance, a small mark that says, on this day, I remembered. On this day, I stopped calling crumbs my portion. On this day, I lifted my eyes. On this day, I began walking home. May the next word find you with peace. May the next morning meet you with mercy. May the next difficult hour find you less alone than you felt before. And may the inheritance kept for you continue its quiet, holy work in every hidden room of your life.